What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video we are going to talk about altcoins, specifically alt season and what you can expect out of the average altcoins. Now, I make videos like this from time to time, maybe like once every 2 weeks, sometimes like once a month. We go over the others chart. For those of you that don't know what the others chart is, others is the total crypto market cap excluding the top 10. So it's basically like your S&P 500 index, but it's your altcoin index. It's the top 125 coins, excluding the top 10. So it really is your altcoins excluding the blue chip cryptos in the markets. It's a good way to measure what the average expectations are going to be. So if we see, the others chart going down 10%, not every coin's dropping 10%. Some of them drop more, some of them drop less, but on average, that's kind of what you're expecting. If it's pumping 10%, you'd expect the average altcoin to pump 10% or more. And this is how you pick apart winners versus losers. Okay, and I want to go over a couple of thoughts as far as maybe how right now you can tell if you have a winner. And this won't be a rigid rule. Just because of what we're going to go over in the beginning of this does not necessarily mean that you have a winner or a loser, but it might be telling. Okay, and then also how you can know if you have losers or things that are disappointing sometimes. And ideally, if you do have ones that are not going to be above average or even at the average level of performance of the average altcoin, as long as it's something that is secure, I think that trade-off of risk to reward is worth it. Like Bitcoin is not going to perform on average with the average altcoin, right? That's not what's going to happen. But you sacrifice those returns for security. Bitcoin will grow in value. Ethereum, same thing, right? It might not perform on average with the average altcoin. You're not going to see Ethereum do a 100x by the end of the cycle, but you trade those potential rewards for the security, right? Same thing with Solana, same thing with various top dog altcoins, right? Speaking of top dogs, Dogecoin even, right? But let's get into this. Let's talk about this. Okay, so first and foremost, I think a simple way to just tell if you have a winner or a loser for this cycle right now. And again, this is kind of a blanket statement. It doesn't necessarily mean that this one piece of criteria is definitive for every coin that's like this, but let me just get into it, okay? From the low of 2022 in December to where we are now. So effectively the end of the bear market for the average altcoin, the beginning of the bull market for the average altcoin. The average altcoin right now is sitting at a 4.6x, okay, 4.65, 4.7x, 4.6x, whatever. If you're holding an altcoin right now that's been around since the end of the bear market, the beginning of the bull market for this altcoin season, this altcoin cycle, and it's up more than 4.6x, like 5x, 6x, 10x, 20x, whatever. If it's up more than that, you've got a winner. You've got something that likely not only has it been outperforming the average altcoin, but it will continue to. Now, if it's a brand new coin that just came out in April and it's up a whole lot and it's done nothing but pump and now it's coming down, right? And it's like it might, maybe it's going to continue to outperform, maybe not. Sometimes things are weird, right? There are exceptions to the rule. I'm speaking specifically on coins that are probably in like the top 200 that have been around since the beginning of this bull market here. If this coin that you're holding, like like the chain links of the world, Cardano, Bitcoin Cash, Monero, what else? There's so many of them, man. There's so many. I'm drawing blanks here, but you know, Shiba Inu, which is probably not performing as well. And that's the thing too. ICP, which is probably not performing as well. You could compare whatever coin it is that you're holding, if it's in, especially if it's one of your like expected, one of your top performing expected coins. If it's in the top 200 and it's been in the top 200 this whole cycle, and right now you're below this standard, if you're barely below, okay, cool, right, fine, that's okay. If you've seen dramatic swings and you're just coming down to a low point, okay, too, you might be fine there too. But if you're just slumping it, right, you're slumming it and you haven't really seen any life at all this cycle, or you saw some life and now you're just degrading over time, that's not a good look, right? Maybe not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Everything's probably going to move up over the coming months, but I'm just saying maybe think about, instead of putting more money into whatever coin is underperforming in the markets right now, think about putting money into coins that are at least meeting that average expectation. Okay. Notice how what I said there was not sell and then take all that money and put it in something else. You can do that too. If you're holding a coin that's only up 200% this cycle, or 100%, or it's up 50% this cycle from its low, you can sell and put it into other things, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but specifically what I said was maybe don't allocate into there anymore. Stop. Just be happy with the bag you have. Allocate more of your funds into other things, right? Like whenever you get new money, whenever you're looking to invest, instead of adding to that stack of disappointment, create a new stack. of hope and vibrance potentially, right? Now, on the flip side of that, if you're holding a coin that's up more than this, you've probably got a winner, right? There are plenty of coins. There are a plethora of coins in the top 200, in the top 500 that have been around since 2023, 2021, beyond that even, that are up more than this. Okay, that are up more than this. Those will likely be the winners, okay? Those will likely be the winners. And I think it's important too to just see what the maximum is real quick, right? The maximum that we've seen this altcoin market on average has been like a 6.5x. You want to make sure that they've also seen higher prices than that overall, but I think really just where they are now, how well they've held up is something that's important. Another thing to kind of fine tune is, you know, if we look at the relative low here from April 7th, because a lot of altcoins, a lot of crypto, basically the whole market bottomed on April 7th there, to where we are now, we're up about 84%. So if you have a coin specifically since April that's outperforming that, it will likely continue to outperform that. If it's underperforming that, that doesn't necessarily mean it'll continue to underperform. It just depends. It depends on some various things, right? Long consolidation phases and stuff. It all depends. But typically you'd look for coins ideally that are up more than 84% since April. Yeah, that's kind of the expectation there. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about what the expectation is for the average altcoin. Where are we going to go over the coming weeks, over the coming months, by the end of this year, and by the end of this cycle? We'll see if we can define all of that. It's going to be a little tricky, but we're going to try. You know, if we're looking at this here on a monthly time frame, the EMA ribbon here is very, very bullish. We're sloping upwards. We're getting away from the ribbon, getting some separation. When we do that, we typically start to excel. It's looking really good. Looking at the weekly ribbon here, things are looking pretty damn bullish as well. And the daily ribbon, things are looking great. Yeah, we might be coming down to bounce off the ribbon, but that's fine. I think that overall, if you're scared today, you can see here it's down 3.4%. If your altcoin's down 5% or 2% today, don't be worried. It's whatever. It's just standard volatility in these crypto markets. We could even drop more than that. We could go below the ribbon, and typically we do find support there. So it's really not a big deal. I think things are healthy. Talking about where we're going to go and seeing the directional heading of all these significant time frames, just showing that we do want to go up. They're all bullishly postured, absolutely, undeniably. We look at this relative high from last year in 2024 in December to the low of April this year. We're going to overlay that at our Fibonacci retracement with the extensions on there. We get our high from the last cycle to the bear market low here, okay? And you can see that there are two target areas that are key areas on both of these that are very significant, okay? The 1,618 is the golden ratio. And from this cycle's high of the altcoin markets to the low that we had on April 7th, that golden ratio lines up perfectly with the 1,272, which is from the last cycle high to the bear market low dynamic. Okay, so right there, that 1,272, the primary target, is in direct contact with this 830, $840 billion level, right? It's in the same area. I would expect that if we stop here, we would probably go to this level. We wouldn't stop right at 807. But also just completing the thought there of where we might stop, this is the primary target zone, the 1,272 to the 1,618. It's the primary target zone. It's a zone in itself. It's not just a strict line. It's anything and everything between these areas, right? It's a zone. So we take that zone, and you can see here with this one, you know, you have the 1,272, 1,618. That is the primary target zone. Relative to this fib, here's your primary target zone. If you break above the 1,618, which I'm kind of expecting we do, it's very possible that we go to the secondary target zone here, which is the 1,886 to the 2,618, which I would say the secondary target zone of this overall fib retracement lines up better with the primary target zone of this overall fib retracement. Do you see it, right? So that tells me, it doesn't mean that it has to be what I'm about to say, but that tells me that likely we don't stop at 800 billion or 838, 840 billion. I would assume we complete the thought, we might go a little bit higher. What is some nice psychological resistance, a nice round number at around that $840 billion level? We go up a little bit more, $160 billion more, and we're at $1 trillion as an overall blanket for the crypto total market cap, excluding the top 10 for the others chart here, right? $1 trillion, and that's right there at the 1414, right here splitting the 1,886,200 level. I really wouldn't be surprised if this is ultimately where we went. By the end of October, we'll likely be at higher targets going into the end of the year. Okay. At the most extreme, I would think that we're at least here by the end of the year, but likely we'll be higher by the end of the year. Okay. That's my expectation at the moment. So if we take that into account, we measure the current price. Let me just make sure I'm right on it, right? Not on the 786, but on the price itself. We take that price and we go with the minimum target that we've established so far, which I think is the 1272, that's about 160% growth. So the average altcoin that you're holding right now is up 87% from April. If you've got something that's doing better than that, you'll likely see more than 161%. If you've got something that's right around there, when I say better, I don't just mean right. We're up like let's see from the low to where we are now. What is it? 87, 85, 84, whatever. We're up. Let's just say we're up 85%. The average altcoins there. If your altcoin's up 90% or 95%, you're performing on average. Okay. If it's up only 75%, 70%, you're performing on average. You're close enough, okay? But whenever you really start to deviate, if you're up like 160%, 200% since April, more than that, right? Or significant amounts more than that, maybe you're up 120% since April. You know, that's good enough, in my opinion, to suggest that you would see higher prices. So if at the minimum, we're thinking 160% for the average altcoin, gauge off of that, right? If you're only up 50% or less since April, you're probably not going to see 160% growth. You're probably going to see like 100% growth, or maybe even less than that, right? But 160% growth on average, you can plus or minus that accordingly, right? And this is the minimum standard. This is not necessarily where I expect we're going to go for the average altcoin. This is where I would expect we go at a minimum, right? At a minimum. Say it with me, minimum. It's a minimum. To me, and maybe to you at this point, it actually makes a lot more sense to go to $1 trillion. And with the 1414, a little known fact about the 1414, you typically don't run up to this area and stop right at it, right? You typically don't find that kind of respect. What you do is you wick through it a little bit and then you come down. What's through it a little bit? That 200 level right there at the $1.16 trillion level. And I've actually noticed a lot of cryptos going to their 1886 200 levels this cycle. So it's very possible that's what we do. It's very, very possible that's what we do. We stopped here at this 886, just above it. Might we stop here at the 1886, just above it, right above the 1414 too? I don't know. $1 trillion psychological resistance makes more sense to me. And when I say 1 trillion psychological, I don't mean that we'll stop right at 1 trillion. I just think we'll go around there. We'll probably break right through it. Typically with those psychological levels, you either stop just below or you break right through it. In the midst of all this mania, I would think that we do break right through. So with that in mind then, the average altcoin, and this is by the end of October, guys. I'm expecting we're going to see some serious growth over the coming weeks. And if it's not by the end of October, then maybe sometime in November. But we should see this move. I'll delete this real quick because I think we're well established with that already. We should see this move be more explosive than anything that we've seen this whole damn cycle. This should resemble the finale phase of last cycle, right? Because that's what we're igniting right now. We're breaking out of this long consolidation phase we've been in since March of 2024. It's September 2025 now, okay? It's been like a year and a half, a little bit over a year and a half, actually. Right? When that March, April, May, June, July, August, September. I guess it's a year and a half on the dot, actually. But a year and a half of consolidation. One would think that once we break out of this, and directly correlated to that breaking out of new all-time highs, one would think that we see a more explosive move than we ever have before. It's like you're on a ticking time bomb here and you're ready to lift off, and I very much do assume that's what we're going to see. So my assumption there would be that we're here. You know, if we did this last time in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, we're probably going to do the same thing. It's going to be like 5 to 6 weeks of a venture, but at a faster pace, okay? If we did this before, it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, we're going to do the same kind of time frame of growth, but larger prices overall, right? We're not retracing our higher prices. We're not consolidating anymore. We're breaking out. It's going to be a different kind of movement altogether. I really do think it'll be more bullish altogether. And I mean, if we look at the weekly MACD, we're crossing above the zero here, getting set up for some bullishness. The stochastics are very bullishly postured, and the RSI is yet to get overbought, which is awesome. We've got a lot of room to run before that happens. So I very much do expect big things are coming. You know, throughout this whole time, Ethereum versus Bitcoin was moving down. Now Ethereum versus Bitcoin is moving up. We've got a lot of implications that the Bitcoin dominance is moving down, where before it was moving up throughout this whole range. There are a lot of things that are stepping out of the way for altcoins to actually rally really, really hard. So I would very much expect that we see something like this. The minimum target, again, going back to it, would be about a 2.5x, 2.6x for the average altcoin. I would feel much more confident in saying that we're probably going to see something on the lines of a 3.5x for the average altcoin. So what I'm saying there, I mean, I just said it very plainly, is that whatever altcoin you're holding, specifically in the top 125, maybe even let's say the top 200, you should see something on the lines of about a 350 a 250% move, a 3.5x, okay, across the board. What altcoin's going to do this, right? What are you saying, C-Zar? Which ones are going to do this? All of them. They're all going to do this. And as far as you go like down lower on the board, if you get out of the top 200 to the top 300, top 400, top 500, you're going down the rankings. You'll likely see more growth, especially if you analyze whatever coins have been performing since April, since the beginning of this cycle. If they're new coins and they didn't exist in the beginning of the cycle and they came out later, that's fine. Just use April as a good kind of anchoring point. Whatever they are, if they've been outperforming the average altcoin this whole cycle, or at least since April, your odds are good that they're going to continue to do so. And especially as you get out of that top 200 ranking, you're likely, if the average altcoin in the top 125 is going to see a 3.5x or around there, the average altcoin outside the top 125, outside the top 200, 300, if they've been outperforming, they're probably going to do even better. It's not that hard, right? You don't even, and not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to do this. You should always do research on the coin you invest in. Always do research on the coin you invest in, whatever it is. You should be able to have a conversation with somebody and tell them, hey, this is what this coin does. I like this coin because it does this, and it's setting out to accomplish X, Y, and Z. But you don't need to. With this kind of information, like genuinely, I mean, you're rolling the dice a little bit more, and that's why I think reading the fundamentals, it can help you. It can have conviction for you. But if you're looking at the charts and you're just looking at the data, I mean, the data speaks for itself. Nothing's going to be outperforming the average altcoin in the top 2 to 300 over the past half year. Nothing's going to be doing that and then underperform, or I shouldn't say nothing, but the majority of these coins that are doing that are not going to all of a sudden underperform the average altcoin, right? And especially if they're lower cap coins, they're going to grow even harder, right? I'm talking to you, Cookie DAO. We're talking to you. Whatever coin's doing that right now, Toshi. I don't know. There's some coins I like that are actually not outperforming the average coin since April, but they're outperforming the average coin this whole cycle. So still important things to look at. But anyways, what else do we want to talk about here? It is possible. So we've got our minimum range. We've got our, what I would consider our likely range. Minimum range is about a 2.5x. Likely range is like a 3.5x. And the crazy, if we were to do this, by the end of October, that'd be something on the lines of about a 5x move or more. I think that there will be coins that do a 5x move or more by the end of October, but those are going to be the top performers. Not the average coin. I don't think so. I think the average coin will get here. We will get to this $1.65 trillion market cap for the others chart by the end of this year. The way that I have it drawn, that's February. I don't think it'll be February. I think that it is going to be by the end of this year, right? It's going to happen at a very fast pace. We're going to move up just like that. It's going to be fantastic. We're in that fantastic finale phase of the cycle. And by the end of this year, I would expect the average altcoin does something on the lines of a 5x. Okay, so 400% move, 5x right there. Going into the end of the cycle, not the end of the year, but the end of the cycle, which I do presume will end sometime in April or May of 2026. That's my assumption. Okay. For the longest time, you guys, I assumed that Bitcoin would top off in October, thus altcoins would top off in November or December. We've recently, not recently, but over the past few months especially, taken into consideration that things are really looking set up to extend this cycle. And it'd be different, right? If we were pumping, if we were in mass euphoria right now, if we were at these unbeatable moments, everybody's excited, and I was like, you guys, it's not stopping here. We're going to continue for months. Okay, then I'm done. But the fact that this cycle's been so tame, we haven't had that immense euphoria. Every single high that we have, people are calling for that to be the end of the cycle. It literally is screaming at us that this cycle is going to extend in time. It's going to. And I don't believe that we're going to end in December. I don't believe we're going to end in November. I really do believe that we're going to extend into Q2 of 2026, if not at least Q1. And with that in mind, we've got higher prices. We've got more time allotted to achieve higher levels in the fibs, in these extended areas. I personally think at the current trajectory, it's completely acceptable that we could hit the 2272 by May, which would be about $6 trillion, which has been a long awaited target. We've actually been talking about that since the beginning of 2023, is that we would see something on the lines of about a $6 trillion market cap by the end of this cycle, which then implies that from here, the average crypto would see something on the lines. It doesn't matter what you're holding, but the average crypto would see something on the lines of a 19 to 20x. 2272. Little known fact about the 2272 is that you typically don't stop right at it like the 1 for 1 where you go just above it. not a $6 trillion market cap, but maybe 6.3, maybe a $7 trillion market cap. Something on the lines of a 19x to maybe a 21x would be the expectation for the average altcoin, okay? That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. You want the altcoins that are going to do more than a 21x by the end of the cycle? Start looking, start doing your research. Just go through and measure. Go through and see what's performing well. Go through, if you find one that's performing well, it's been performing well all cycle. And I shouldn't say performing well all cycle, because not a lot of altcoins have been, right? You know, and there are some that they might have highs, like Caspa, for example, is up really high from its lows, but it's probably done, man. I mean, it did an over 1000x move. Like that's one of those things that it's an exception. It's not as cut and dry as this. If anybody's thinking, oh wow, Caspa's up so much, it's going to continue to outrun. No, there's some coins that have had their cake and ate it already, right? They're already done. And I think Caspa will come back on that note, you know, to the Caspa people. I think that Caspa is going to do well, and it'll probably see new all-time highs at some point. But I think its bull market's over. I don't think Caspa continues to outperform the average crypto. I don't think so, right? It hasn't since it topped off, right? And I made a bunch of videos on that, but we haven't really talked about it lately. But in case anybody's thinking about Caspa specifically, there are coins that are outperforming the average altcoin from their bear market lows to where they are now. But again, that in itself doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing well. You have to look at other things too, right? And I think that's why pairing it with what they've done since April is also very helpful. But there are some coins that, you know, they've been stagnant since April. They've been outperforming overall. There are some coins that'll still do well, right? It just depends on how they're consolidating and what their charts look like. You know, if they're expended, they're at new all-time highs, and they had a large distributed phase like Caspa did, then that's different, right? But if you're like in a consolidation phase, sitting on top of a pile of gold, of a pile of growth, you're probably going to continue building in that direction. Anyways, you know, like this, like if you moved up and you're just consolidating, just because you're moving sideways and boring doesn't mean you don't have more to go. You absolutely have more to go. But where was I going with this? Just go through, man. Go through. Go through, look up any random altcoin, go through if you're bored, you really have no life, and maybe you have a life, but it's the weekend, go through the top 500 coins. Just measure them, man. Just simple. Just measure from low to where they are now. Find the ones that meet the criteria. Do your research on them. Read the white papers. Read the tokenomics. Make sure there's not any big unlock events happening or anything like that. Make sure they're not scams and they're vetted. And if you like the project, then pull the trigger. It's simple. Anybody can do it. Anybody. You do not have to be sophisticated. You do not have to be smart. You don't have to understand the language. You just have to understand where the money's going and where it will continue to go. It's that simple. The average altcoin is going to pull something on the lines of a 19 to a 21x by the end of the cycle. And if you want to find something that's outperforming that, it's very simple to do. I hope you have the tools to do it now. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourself. Shout out to All American Crave for this sick bucket hat, by the way. Check them out. All American Crave. That's the company name. All American company made by all American people with very, very nice quality products. I must say, man, if you guys want some swim trunks, genuinely, you should get some swim trunks from this. They're the softest pair of swim trunks I've ever had in my life. That like mesh netting, if you're a guy, you know what I'm talking about. You sit down, makes your ass itchy. I'm just going to talk plainly here. It's not fun. It's not, you like cut the netting out because it's just so annoying. I'm leaving my netting in on from the All American Crave because, dude, it's soft. I want blankets made out of it. It's genuinely some of the best material, and the prices are awesome. They're awesome. It's not like as cheap as what is it, Shein, but you're buying American quality products, right? It's not cheap slave labor stuff. It's American products made by American people. So if you want to support them, All American Crave. This is not a paid affiliate link. I'm just talking about them because they're great. They're a good product made by good people. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.